Hey, what's going on, hockey goalies? It's me, Michael from Seattle. I wanted to talk quickly about True's brand new Catalyst PX5 custom pads here in 2025. I just got my hand on these bad boys about a month ago. Started breaking them in. Came from a Catalyst PX3 custom set, which I adored. And just want to kind of note some of the differences, how the break-in period's been going, what I like, what I would do differently. Why don't we start first with the old blocker? You're probably thinking, normal blocker. That's wrong. You notice this little thing back here? This is opti-angle. You're like, what is that, opti-angle? I too had no idea, clue, what the opti-angle was. It seemingly is just a large piece of foam that is being placed between the back of your hand here and the front of the blocker. It seems like the idea is to have the face of the blocker go forward a little bit, so you're cutting off the angle of the puck. Thought I would try it this year. It's only on specific blockers through True's Customizer, but I did have the non-opti-angle version last time and didn't have any problems with it. I did notice Mackenzie Blackwood, I think I saw, with the opti-angle. Hellebuck, I think, also has the opti-angle. Is it a marketing scheme? Does it work? Hard to say this early, but I definitely don't hate it. It seems a little bit nicer than a normal blocker, a little bit thicker, not much heavier, not much difference there. On the Customizer this year, I did notice a difference with the hand. You can pick, I think, small, medium, and large, and tight and loose fit. I think in the past I've done just sort of a medium / large. This one I went with a tight medium. At first it was really tight, but after a few skates it actually has broken in quite a bit. And there we see, I think it's a 615. So you have to get what True's calling the 615 blocker to get this opti-angle. But definitely worth it. Great blocker so far. No problems, no qualms. I think we've got the short grip and hash grip. I'm not sure what it is. I get it all the time. I don't pay too much attention to it, but my last set was about a year old. Didn't have any holes, but the material just gets really wet and it just gets kind of slimy, grimy, and so just was time for a new set. Which brings me to my True Pro Plus, or I guess it's called a Game Ready Extra. If you can read that, Game Ready Extra Palm. This is a, God, what is it? A 590, excuse me, a 590 break. So this goes, I think, like this as a closure. There's 580, 590, 600. They always confuse me, excuse me. This is the 590 now that I've put my hand in here. It's what I'm just kind of used to. Same glove as usual, double T. Got the netting here. I don't do the skate lace. Not sure why I do or don't. But the Game Ready Extra, you'll notice there is extra padding in here and in here as well to avoid some stingers. Yeah, the break-in time for this glove's been not bad at all. This is, one bake, maybe 3 skates. Closes really well. Great palm. Yeah, True makes really, really good gloves and blockers. So far, compared to the PX3, all just upgrades. Everything has broken in much, much quicker than previous. Is that because materials are just, I don't know, easier to break in? Not as stiff, I'm not quite sure, but for some reason this round of pads has been pretty fantastical after 3 skates. So glove blocker, been fantastic. Don't notice a huge difference from the PX3 other than obviously some customization things. When you do go to True's website and fill out the customizer, you'll notice a lot more to choose from, which was very confusing. So please make sure you're referencing those True PDFs online. There's lots of little things that I don't even understand sometimes. Do call if you have like a local hockey store or if you have a connection with a True rep to help you out with that. Speaking of which, the big boy, the PX5 pad. I can't quite get these in screen because they're just way too big, but they are a 33+3. Hopefully I'll clip in some footage here of me on the ice. I am 6'3" goalie. Always had 33+3. There was kind of a time when I had 12.2s where I was playing around with thigh rise and knee size, and I will say this, after talking to some pro goalies this year at practices, they keep the same specs they've had since they were playing juniors for the most part. Obviously, there's some goalies that touch up things here and there, but in talking to some pro goalies this year, very much using the same specs, just all skinned as the latest versions because it's what they're most comfortable in. And so I've tended to notice that that's what I've been leaning toward too, rather than playing around with the thigh rise, playing around with the height of the pad. If it worked before, stick with it. It's the easiest way to stay on your game, that is for sure. First thing to notice, this does not have the quick glide. They slide like a dream. This was the same thing with the 12.2, same thing with the PX3s. Some people ask me, how come you don't get the quick glide? I slide plenty fast in them. I just haven't seen the need to get that quick glide on them. So yeah, I love them. Think they're a dream for sure in terms of sliding. No problems there whatsoever. There's a couple of new customizations you can do this year. I think you can get a stiff or soft core on the PX5. I got stiff to shoot off those rebounds, and the rebounds do come off really, really hot. That is for sure. We've got the Benji toe ties. I noticed a lot of NHLers are doing laces now. I was going to play around with laces. In fact, I originally ordered these with laces, and then called True to go back to the Benji toe ties because of the reason I just mentioned. It's what I'm used to for the spec. I really don't want to screw around with this too much because things have been working out fantastic for me. On the back, still kind of your same old FRS fast rotation system. I do enjoy my pads being very tight to the leg. I've tried to do a loose fit. For me, the pads just kind of wiggle around too much. I've had over rotation when I drop down into butterfly. Not a good look. So for me personally, I go in here, I take the Velcro back here, and I push it all the way to the top so the leg channel for me is just really, really tight. We just do one leather strap, there we go, and Velcro. The leather strap here, kind of pointless, but I've just sort of had it again forever, so I'm used to it. We do have a leather strap under the heel. I do find that maybe helps keep the pad in place a little bit better. And this is the 12.2 thigh rise. I don't recall what True calls it specifically, but it definitely will help if you're looking for more of that kind of softer S-curve of a pad. They will eventually sort of break in to do that S-curve, as you can see here. I've tried the hazardous pads before. They're just way too stiff. It's like a diving board for me. And the problem I had with stiff pads is when I would drop down into butterfly, pretend these are my legs, the pad would get stuck on top of the other pad and my 5-hole would be wide open. The pads are the same specs as the ones that I had now. Got rid of those real quick and stuck with the PX5 line. Back then the 12.2. It's been around forever, had a bunch of different names. So yeah, this is kind of a quick review. Hopefully I've edited in some clips so you can see them on the ice. I've only had them 3 skates and they feel like I've had them for a long time. So I don't know what True's doing to their pads nowadays, but they're so much easier to break in. Always recommend bake the glove, please. It'll be so much easier. I'm so jealous of pro goalies that have access to an oven before games where this thing just turns into a soft ball of butter and they can just do this. Although it looks, that takes some hand strength and some wrist strength that perhaps I'm too weak for. And the blocker, fantastic. I do take off the Velcro here for more mobility. Ideally, this is strapping in here, but I found it to be a little tight and kind of useless. I do think there is something you can do in the customizer to get rid of this altogether if it's getting in your way. And another big thing for 2025 with True that's different is you can order pads online through their website, custom pads through their website. In the past, you've had to go in store, you've had to fill out their form, PDF, it pops out a code, you take it to the rep at your local hockey shop, and then they call their rep at True and they put the order in for you. You do not have to do that anymore. I can't tell you how much time that saves. But to be fair, if you are just getting into custom pads, I would highly recommend finding a local store that has connections to a True rep, because there are so many customizations that will not make sense for those who are just starting. Please ask questions. These are super expensive pads. I want to say they set me back $3,800 after tax, and you are stuck with these things. And if you do try to sell them, you're probably going to get half price for them because they're so customized to what you are and what you want in a pad. So take your time with it. Obviously sit on the specs. It's always fun to design pads, but really make sure that the specs are locked in first before you do any designs or hit that purchase button. The one thing I will note with True that was a little weird this year, like I mentioned on the pad itself, I had originally ordered laces instead of the bungee toe Velcro straps, and I wanted to change that. There is like a help email for True. I never heard back from them. I emailed them 3 times over the course of 3 weeks. Crickets. It only was because I had ordered pads before and they had screwed up that order on an old order. They did fix it for me, but I had an email from years ago from someone at True. Cross fingers, they still happened to work there, and they noted that they were going to send along that update. So I will say, if you do place an order through True's website, they might be hard to impossible to get a hold of. Just my experience. So that is a pro of ordering these things through a shop that has a connection with True. You may be able to update your pads if they've not been produced yet. But all that to say, Catalyst PX5s, they're badass, definitely worth the money. I go through them, about a year and a half, but I also play 4 or 5 days a week as a beer leaguer, doing some e-bug work here and there, and just loving hockey and loving to see what the new technologies are. And yeah, these pads are a dream. So if you're on the fence about them, don't be. Fantastic pads. Just please take your time when ordering the specs and take a look at the True PDFs. Anyway, hope you guys enjoy, and hopefully I'll be back soon with some more content. Right, take care.